Well, I can't think of a conversation that I've been looking forward to more than this. Crypto Novo, thank you for pulling all of us together. I know the four of you have a very exciting panel that will be coming up at NFT.NYC. I'd love for the four of you to introduce yourself. For those in the NFT.NYC community, some of our friends here that have their AR filters on are docs, but they also have their digital identity, and some are not. And they've maintained a separate physical life from their digital. But one thing that's common amongst all four is the way that they're leveraging amazing AR technology to be able to jump onto a fireside chat like this and bring this part of their NFT world. So Crypto Nova, maybe we could start with you, and then I'll just have the four of you introduce yourself. Please let the NFT NYC party people know who you are and what you're about.
Welcome all my aliens, apes, and zombies. I'm Crypto Novo. I dress up in real life just like my CryptoPunk 3706. And I also stay anonymous using this AR filter when I just try to live stream events in the NFT community. This AR filters help me stay not only anonymous, but is giving me access in terms that it kind of makes a name for myself, because that's what it's all about, is making a name for yourself. Very similar to my good friend right over there, Spotty Wi-Fi. Spotty, what's going on, my friend?
Yes, sir, bro. It's great to be here. I do go by the name Spotty Wi-Fi. I'm the best and only CryptoPunk rapper alive. And that's sort of my digital identity is Spotty Wi-Fi. And that's why I also, use an AR mask when I'm online. And it's just fun. So it's cool to like talk about it and be with all these other great creators and friends of mine.
Well, JR Token, maybe you can jump in and say hello to everybody.
Sure, absolutely. So good to be here. Excited to be at NFT NYC again. This is so great. And look, the first time I even met Crypto Nova was actually inside a virtual reality experience. My first impression, the first time I met that guy was as an avatar, and our journey began at that moment into a whole other world. Now, I've had a couple different identities digitally, which have been really fun, but I have landed on my Clone X. This is how many people who are watching our streams know me by now, and use it, love it. It has a lot of advantages, and excited to talk about how we, use digital identity in this Web3 space. It's so exciting, and there's so much potential behind it. But I think we really pioneered something interesting, and part of the magic of that is our friend Beskar X, our tech lead with all things AR.
Thanks, JR. Yeah, it doesn't seem like that long ago, but in crypto years, it's forever. When thinking back to hanging out in the Larva Labs Discord with my good friend Crypto Novo here, and you started to have people that had pseudonyms, right? You got D's, you got G Money, and we never knew who they were, and we never cared because we were all crypto punks, and that's really all that mattered. And we were early to the game. We were into NFTs, but really that crypto punks community, that Larva Labs community, was all about helping each other. And I know that's Novo's origin story was about helping other people. And what really quickly, spending time in Clubhouse early on, we learned so much about NFTs in Clubhouse, but we saw a real problem there. You could only listen, and you could only learn about NFTs by listening in Clubhouse, and that was great, but this is a visual medium, right? And as we move into NFTs and move now into the future in the metaverse, Clubhouse and social audio, as far as like people sharing their art and sharing their creations, that just wasn't going to cut it. So we stepped back and said, how can we bring NFTs to life? How can we bring this digital identity to life? And for Crypto Novo, actually solving a problem where he wanted to share, we wanted to get out there, we wanted to talk about NFTs, but it couldn't happen without an AR filter like this. So that's where we said, hey, let's turn your NFT into an AR filter. let's fire up that Twitch stream so we can actually bring on collectors, creators, artists, developers. I mean, everybody building in NFTs back then, which was a small universe. And then my boy Spotty here as well. He's, one of the very best artists I've ever encountered my entire life. Just gets it and is always ahead of the game. So bringing together Crypto Novo, Spotty Wi-Fi, to start, streaming and talking about NFTs and telling stories about NFTs, and our digital identities allowed us to make that happen.
Well, it's going to be great to have a panel with the four of you. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the four of you share and the way the crowd engages with you. There's a lot of things that the four of you have total consensus on, that you agree, things that you do similar, but all of you do things quite a bit different as well. I was wondering if maybe we could just start the conversation with some of the things that make the four of you unique, kind of your own path that you're carving out in the way that you go about leveraging the AR filter and the way that you go about building digital identity. So before we talk about the consensus of what does everybody agree on and what's everybody doing similar, maybe we could start with the individualism. Novo, do you want to jump in and just kind of share what approaches are you taking that are different than your three peers here with us?
The approach I took is seeing what my son, who's, 8, 9, 10-year-old, what he finds is cool. And he's always looking at people on Web2 YouTube videos and them talking about interesting things that he finds entertaining. So why not do that in the Web3 sense while bringing AR technology based on creating content around NFTs? And a prime example of that is when we were able to live stream our clones being revealed. And one of the clones popped out, number, 17209, and it looked exactly like JRR token. And he had a filter prior to the one he's using now that had the blue goatee, similar haircut up top.
No hair, but no hair specifically.
Oh, I was going to say bald.
That's a little hint.
And that was like an aha moment for all of us, where we're sitting there as friends, very similar to if we were growing up doing comic books or baseball cards, degenning early in the morning till the sun comes up about different attributes and how the attributes actually match his appearance. And now he can make a digital identity for himself. So then he walks into work the next day, or digitally signs into work the next day, and pops on an AR filter, and everyone asks if he got a haircut, and it's just got a new AR filter. And that's the fun in it. And that's what I enjoy doing, is having fun while staying anonymous.
Fun is definitely how I got into it. I mean, almost my whole existence, I feel like I've been a digital native. I've always been into video games. I've always been into computers. And, the second that I figured out that you could plug a computer into dial-up, I was obsessed with everything. Getting to be able to immerse myself more and more as technology continued to evolve was what I just got so hooked on and interested in. And of course, when AR filters started years ago with starting with Snapchat, you just have this super fun experience of being able to engage with something digital, but it's also mixing with your own body, your mouth, your eyes, having all the gestures, being able to still emotionally connect with somebody, even though it's not your physical face, right? You still have the ability to emote naturally. So when started getting into VR more and more, into full body avatars, it just became the natural progression of the digital experience, that you could become something more than just a mirror of yourself. You could become something more than that. And when NFTs showed that you could have ownership of that, not something that's duplicative, but something that is truly unique, that's really what was the aha moment why this all makes sense, is that you have the real opportunity to become something unique, become your something more ideal for yourself, and be able to express that, but own it, right? It's not like we all look like Mario or Luigi. Like, it's not a set of characters. There's so much uniqueness, and that's the beauty of PFPs, and that is the true, vision of an NFT and the Web3, mentality of ownership and being able to own yourself. And so, this is definitely my forever PFP. I do have some others I use on occasion, but this is a way of self-expression that I've been dreaming out, and it's still getting better. Like, there's so much more. This is just ahead. Wait till I try on the rest of it.
Spotty, go ahead. Yeah, you're on mute, but we want to hear what you have to say.
My bad. Yeah, I was on mute, but the thing that I think kind of differentiates me is I'm really focused on music. So I saw last year, I started linking up with Novo and Beskar, and I saw what they were doing with, the lenses and the digital identities and giving themselves names. And it was really just them and G Money at that time that I even knew, because I didn't know a lot of the other, people in the CryptoPunk community. And that's when it dawned on me, like, I should make my CryptoPunk a rapper, and so since that time, I've put out a full album, like a concept album, rapping from the perspective of my CryptoPunk Spotty Wi-Fi, telling his backstory from, coming straight out of Larva Labs from the metaverse. And now I'm working on the follow-up album where I tell the story of how he goes from the metaverse to the real world, and working on actually putting the finishing touches on a comic book for that as well. Through my music and through the comic book, I'm also introducing other characters, some of which are my own alter egos, where I'm really the person behind the mask, or I'm the person behind the raps or the music. And in some cases, I'm introducing characters where I'm partnering with other creators that are embodying those personas, which are represented by NFTs, whether it's CryptoPunks, Bored Apes, Gutter Cats, my Doodle, my Meebit, et cetera, et cetera. So music is the tip of the spear for me, and now starting to branch out into other forms of media, like comics, and of course always doing trying to do as much fun stuff like this visually on YouTube, on TikTok, and everything else.
Like, we've seen it. Like, we've seen not only Spotty's digital identity with Spotty, but just him branching out and diversifying with his portfolio. Why make, and I sometimes say it, why make $1 million from selling your NFT when you can make $1 million off of your NFT? And he owns the rights to it, and he gets to choose what he wants to do with it. Sometimes the filters is the fastest way of getting that accomplished. There's other means of getting that accomplished as well, but it's just awesome. And I feel so honored and privileged just to be up there, nominated with Spotty, also ENS domain, Punk 6529, token proof for digital identity. It's like crazy to think about how far this entire space has come, where like digital identity is actually something you can vote on, that people actually acknowledge. And it just shows how this space has evolved. And a lot of that has come from, I always say the wizard behind the curtain is Beskar X for dreaming up of this, like a marketing genius between him and JR Token, saying, let's make the most out of your NFT. Let's not just, make a sticker, which was my original idea. Let's make the most out of it.
Hey, yeah, really. My bad, Beskar. I just want to big you up a little bit. By the way, before I started on this journey with Beskar and Novo, this was very novel, and like nobody was doing this, nobody, especially in the music world where I exist, nobody was doing this. I had people tell me I was a gimmick, people tell me this was goofy, that it was a fad and blah, blah, blah. And nobody was doing it at that time. Since then, you have multi-platinum Grammy award-winning producers and artists like Timbaland making their own alter egos. He's got a Bored Ape that he calls Congo, and he's got a production company that he started just for Bored Ape artists. You've got Snoop Dogg selling $44 million worth of NFTs and, creating NFTs with a Bored Ape and an alter ego named Dr. Bombay. So it's really like, and you've got Universal Music Group starting their own Web3 imprint, their own Web3 music label, and signing a licensing deal with 4 or 5 Bored Apes to start their own group or band around these characters that they're creating. So, I think I think I'm pretty honored and validated by that sort of thing, because it just kind of shows that we were early on something, and we had a feeling, we had a vision of like, these things are going to become mainstream and people are going to come from the real world into the metaverse, and we're going to be there to meet them when they take that step. Sorry, Beskar, I interrupted you, but.
Oh no, I mean, such an important part, and really, like, it's resonated, stuck with me, ever since we started all working together and collaborating together. And for me, my unique reason why was, I very much worked, we didn't even call it this back then, but I very much worked and existed in a Web 2 world. My day-to-day job is working with some of the biggest brands in the world, on showing them the way on emerging technology. And certainly, I'm been so incredibly bullish on experiential technology, immersive technology. Been working in this space for 6 years now in VR and AR, and just knowing that, look, technology is inevitable. We keep moving forward. And the things that you think are little and insignificant or experimental today are tomorrow's mass technology adoptions, right? And so, like Spotty was saying, right? We're here, we're using AR filters, but this isn't the end or the end of the evolution of digital identity. So for me, I really, my motivation was, I had to go a little undercover, right? I had a full-time day job, and what I was doing in that day job, before I really understood if really like NFTs and what turned into now Web3 was going to be a thing, I was like, I just want to go into this world, into this small world, because I saw the light turned on, the fingers snapped, and I could see that this was going to be the future of what we would all be doing within the next year to 3 years. And I really wanted to understand that without any preconceived notions of who I was or what I was representing or what my motivations were going to be coming from the brand world. Like, what are you trying to do? Exploit us all, for a brand deal? No, absolutely not. I just wanted to learn. And I'm not an artist in a sense of, I don't create music like Spotty does. I don't create art like our good friend, art and photography like our good friend Justin Aversano. I make tech, and we come up with tech ideas. So I wanted my contributions back to the space, because people were so generous with their time and their information and helping us learn NFTs. I wanted to give back in the way I knew, which is bringing the metaverse to NFTs, right? And before we were calling it the metaverse, right? All these things. So, that's from my standpoint, it was, I can be in this community, and I can be in the Bored Apes community, and I can be in the CryptoPunks community, and I can be in the Artifact community, and I can just exist in that world. And if we want to cosplay as Bored Apes and we want to hang out like we're at the yacht, like I didn't want the real world to interfere with that. I just wanted to exist in that community, in that social community, and like I said, give back. And as we started to make these Snapchat lenses, right? And just the first time someone would see Novo, or they would see Spotty, or they come on the stream and like their jaw would hit the floor, and they'd be like, how do you do that? How can I do that? Right? And that was the first thing we heard right away, is how can I do that? So, we realized that there's demand out there for digital identities backed by your NFTs. And so we started the Novoverse, right? And the Novoverse exists exactly for that, helping people, and there it is, right? Helping people bring their NFTs and their PFPs into the digital world, represent themselves back to their communities, or create content. So we started, making these Snapchat lenses, and really people asked, what, do you think I can make my doodle out of a lens? Do you think I can make my sup dunk out of a lens? We said no. We didn't say no to anybody. We just wanted to figure out how to make it happen. And whatever it ended up looking like, it turned out like, hey, that's art, right? We're here and we're making art and we're enabling people to create for their communities and also to give value back to their communities, right? These communities are growing, they're expanding, they're getting humongous. And if you can actually create content within that feels real and feels native and feels authentic, we just saw so much value in that, and it's responded. We made now probably close to 100 of these Snapchat lenses for people out in the Web3 space, and they use them and they love them and they create content with them. And I just love seeing all the new ones come to life with our incredible artist David, who's making all these for us.
Amazing. Yeah, I remember the first time I saw it with a PFP was G Money. And we had a Zoom, he and I and a couple other people. I'm like, that's the coolest thing. How'd you do that? And so it's cool to see how it's evolved. It's interesting to see how people take different approaches, right? I just did a conversation with Alts Anonymous, and instead of having a filter, he just comes from the metaverse with his, avatar. And so there's different ways of going about this. I want to pause for a moment and talk about the awards, because I don't want this to get lost on you, Novo, or you, Spotty, how significant it is that you were nominated in the first place. So just so the audience understands, we just want to award people, we want to honor people, want to respect people and acknowledge all the good that they're doing. So we said, hey, let's have awards and see who does nominations. We almost had 10,000 nominations come through. And so the only reason why Spotty Wi-Fi was nominated with Crypto Novo for digital identity, and the only reason why he was nominated as a musician, was because the community decided that they were the ones that represented these two categories best. In addition to the 10,000 nominations, we had over 18,000 individuals cast over about 250,000 votes. And so when this comes down, it's just as significant for the two of you to be nominated by those 10,000 initial nominations as it is for those that win. And I just want to make sure that the two of you understood the significance of that honor that came from the community, and that the community recognizes that we didn't pick this. We didn't decide on the 5 nominees. We're not guiding who wins. This is the community that decides for themselves who they think represent this best. With that in mind, I wanted to ask Novo and Spotty if you could speak to what it feels like to be honored with your digital identity. And so I asked Alts Anonymous about his birthday. His birthday was a few days ago, and everybody's celebrating his birthday and happy birthday. They don't know his name. They don't really know who he is, right? And so I said, what's that like to have a birthday celebrated by your friends that engage with your digital identity? So what is it like for the community to honor the two of you and nominate you in these categories? I'd love to hear your feedback on that from the digital identity perspective.
For me, it's more of a celebration with my friends. Beskar was just talking about community. That's what it is. It's not about I or me. It's about us. And the people who are all nominated for that just shows the category as a nomination as a whole shows that there is interest in the space and that people are looking in that direction. And how we are spokesmen, spokeswomen, spokes avatars for this space. And that's what's important. If we're going to want more people to come into the space, we're going to have to show them what it's about, that it is accepting of all aliens, apes, and zombies. And that, you can use a digital identity to express yourself, or you can use your regular identity too. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it is about community. And you are just rattling off those shocking numbers to me that really validates what we have been trying to achieve in this space. And that is having an all for one mentality, that we're all here together and we can all get through this together. And very similar to how, BestRx, Spotty Wi-Fi, and JR Token have helped me, not only providing content, providing me guidance, providing me their expertise into what makes things cool, what makes things technologically savvy. So it validates the hard work that we have been doing, the late nights that we have been up, but we're just here having fun. So we'll continue the fun and helping others. And it's not who goes across the stage that gets that award. It's just getting the pat on the back, being acknowledged by your like-minded peers that you are doing something cool in the space that is very cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my category that I was really like I campaigned for the music award. Like I want to win the music award, right? Like I campaigned for it last year, and I'm grateful that our community we showed up and showed out, and we won that award. And that award is near and dear to my heart, because like I said, I had people that called me a gimmick last year. I don't hear, they're not as loud this year, and I want to win that award again. But this year I'm really excited because the music award is all artists that are nominated versus last year I was the only artist and it was all platforms. So I feel like we already won in a sense because I'm friends with all the other nominees. It's all artists. But when I saw that I was nominated alongside, my good friend and mentor Novo for best use of digital identity, that really means a lot because I did not expect that at all. It came out of left field, but it also taps into something that I'm really passionate about and that I know as an artist and a musician, we innovated in that respect. I just didn't know, I didn't expect the community to unprompted without me, campaigning or making an argument for it. I didn't necessarily expect the community at large for me to come to mind when they were filling out the form and making nominations for that category. And that's very special to me. I'm really appreciative of everybody's support for that. And it's a great honor to be nominated alongside the other nominees. This is an incredible cast of nominees. Like I said, Novo is my mentor. Novo and Beskar are like the first to do this as far as I know, right? Punk 6529, probably, alongside me and Novo and Beskar, one of the most popular, well-known punks, and certainly doing as much for the space and the community and, building as much as anybody, real talk,
Right.
And then, so those are the three individuals. Then you have ENS domains, which is like literally the first NFT and, one of the most useful, if not the most useful NFTs in terms of actual utility, directly related to identity. And then Token Proof, Token Proof is up and coming. I really want to work with them, and they're working with, they're working with the top NFT collections right now on their live events and ticketing and identifying yourself as a token holder at IRL events and whatnot. So yeah, I'm very honored, humbled, and I'm really rooting for Novo, to be honest. I would love to see Novo win the award.
What actually happens is it makes you work harder for the space, just having that validation. And one thing that I want to do on our power panel at NFT.NYC is let you guys be known for what you actually do in your quote unquote 9 to 5s and not through your side hustles, because you guys are being recognized through your professional organizations for stuff that you are doing in technically the Web 2.0 world through their award systems, but it's Web 3.0 technology. And I think that's what's important is, showing that your guys transition from side hustle into 9 to 5 and what that looks like, because a lot of people have made that transition this last 18 months, year, 2 years, and you guys are paving the way and need the accolades that are deserved, that aren't hidden behind AR filters. And so when the doxing commences at NYC NFT, there's a reason behind it, because that is my award show highlighting what has gotten me to where I'm at. And when I mean, it's Crypto Novo, and it's not one person, it's an aggregation of all my friends, all the people who have made content, all the people who share information with me, so then I can teach others what I've learned and they can do what they want with that information.
Baskarx, in many ways, your fruit grows on Novo and Spotty's trees, right? Maybe a weird analogy, or your ceiling was their floor, right? You built this technology out that they were able to take advantage of. If and when Spotty wins the award for best musician artist, if Novo wins for best digital identity, in many regards, they will feel like you were the silent partner in the development and their ability to win these awards. Can you talk a bit about what it feels like to partner with others, empower them to the level that they get recognized like this amongst the community, and knowing that you're a big part of that in being able to allow them to have these digital identities the way that they do?
Yeah, I mean, look, technology is not is not art, right? And technology is not talent. Technology is an enabler, right? And so, really, yes, this is my passion, and I share this passion with one of my best friends in the world, J.R.R. Token, right? We're completely obsessed with where tech is going, because, like I said before, it's inevitable, but it's just a tool, right? It's not artistry, it's not talent, it's not drive, it's not motivation. So, I mean, it's to me, it's a nudge to these all three of these people and everybody we've made these filters for, but it's just a nudge to go out and then create and tap into your talent. So, like, I mean, to sit here and think that's, Spotty Wi-Fi isn't an incredible artist who's incredibly talented and who could vault himself into the space he is without the filter. I mean, the filter just helps hone in the identity. It doesn't enable him to create art in that way. So, like, the talent is what's driving this, right? And we've got to, for everything that the technology enables, you got to look at the talent is winning out. Novo himself, incredibly driven, right, to create content and to open it up and to find all his aliens, apes, and zombies. The filter just enables that. And for J.R.R. Token, he's out every day, and I want to let you talk about what you do, but every day in it, driving the belief into NFTs and the power of NFTs and the power of community with the IP and the brands you work with. I mean, I think you should talk about that. When you show up as your filter, how do people even react to that?
Well, totally blows their minds, that's for sure. It's just, what gets my rocks off is innovation, and I love the technology, but it's how you implement that into the everyday, and use it for good. Now, I also work with some major brands and IP, and I worked in advertising for the last 10 years, and I'm in a similar role now, but I have made the jump fully into Web3. But it was only because of fully immersing myself within the community as a Web3, first as a novice, then as a native, and becoming an expert in the space to, evangelize what's happening, right? And the more that we can educate people early on, and so they could just at least get it. We don't have to participate, but just at least understand the journey that we're going on, is reward enough for me. And obviously it helps occupationally too. That's very helpful. But Spotty brought up something really interesting twice, which was kind of like naysayers, right? And this whole Web3 journey has felt like this really crazy deja vu over and over again. And when it's like this is the third iteration. In '96 was the first time I was really feeling Web 1, right? But I was way too young. I had no money or no power to do anything with it except enjoy it, right? Go for the ride. But became obsessed with it then. And then you had people saying, oh, why do I even need electronic email addresses when I have a perfectly great phone book that comes 4 times a year? It's like, well, that doesn't, okay, enjoy that, right? Then you kind of go back to 2008 to 2010, and Web 2 was really taking hold. And I remember people telling me, as like I was obsessing with the latest technologies then, why are you taking pictures of food? Why are you checking into locations? You're going to get, people are going to find you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This is great. This is fun. This is sharing. This is content creation, right? Like, and the naysayers, were incorrect, once again, right? And I kept pushing forward. And that same feeling happened again a year ago as I'm talking to, other people, family, friends, brands, about how, this will impact. And feeling that resistance again. But for me and Beskar and Novo and Spotty, it was clear as day what NFTs and what Web3 means from an identity standpoint, from how we will evolve the digital internet experience as a whole, and how it will just weave into our lives. And so when I feel that resistance, I push straight through it, because I know now that that feeling is the feeling of we're on the right track and this is the future. And change is very hard for a majority of people, but doesn't mean that it's not the right thing to do. And it's an evolution, right? We're going forward, and these avatar heads are just the start. PFPs were just the start. I'm excited. Like, we're already seeing new trends, right? Of how the PFP was just, in order to feature it, you could just right click and save it and use it and upload it as your profile icon. Now, Twitter and soon Instagram are natively integrating a Web3 wallet, so you could officially show your identity and proof that you are the true owner. Like, that was a very short time frame for that to become an official integration into one of the most popularly used digital platforms that are Web2, right? And now we're starting to see another trend emerge of like banners. Like, it's all these areas of showing different ownership, and how do you plug that into your social experience and your social identity at the end of the day, that is just going to keep evolving. And again, PFPs for the most part were like, from the bust up or just the head. And we're already going into full body, right? And it's becoming more and more immersed, more and more integrated, both, from a digital and IRL perspective.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask all of you a final question as we wrap up. I'm going to ask you to each speak to a different audience. So Spotty to artists, and Novo to the CryptoPunk community, Baskarx to the Yuga community, and JR to the Artifact community. Here's the question. There's going to be tens of thousands of people at NFT.NYC, and many of the Times Square billboards have been rented. If you had access to the billboards, and if you could give one message to the audience that I asked you to speak to, what would you say to them to encourage them, to give them guidance, to remind them of maybe something that's already a consensus amongst the group? So Spotty, maybe you could start. If you could have all the billboards and speak to all the artists, all the musicians, and tell them something as a parting word, what would that be, my friend?
Man, I have so much advice for artists. I would need a total takeover. I'll have to take over the whole strip. But a couple quick things. I'll try to be quick. I'll say, take your time, be patient. Don't come into this space on a Monday ready to launch your sale on Friday. You will have a lot more success if you come in looking to build relationships, exchange perspectives, information, and mostly to listen. And get on Twitter Spaces and get in Discord, and don't click any links that you're not sure about what that link is. That's especially on Discord. The other thing I would say, look to collaborate. Look to tap into these subcultures and these communities. When I became the world's only CryptoPunk rapper, I immediately had thousands of CryptoPunk owners that were in tune and curious about what I was doing. When I bought my first Bored Ape and said, hey, this is my hype man, and I'm going to make songs about and with my hype man, I had Bored Apes that wanted to hear what I was doing. Support those other communities, contribute to them culturally, not necessarily with your money, but with your talent, your skill, and your energy, and they will reciprocate when it does come time for you to ask them to show you love. And then finally, very tactical advice. When you're ready to make an NFT, if you're going to do a series of them or an edition, however many you're thinking to mint fewer. Whatever you're thinking to charge less. I promise you, that is the alpha.
One question of clarity on that. How about royalties? So you said whatever you're going to make less. Whatever you're going to charge for the initial mint, charge less. Do you believe that's the same for the royalty fee that's added on for the secondary sales?
I think the royalty question is a very interesting question. There seem to be different standards of what different types of collectors find to be acceptable. In the music genre, people will tolerate fees that I wouldn't tolerate as a collector. I see platforms going over 10%. To me personally, as a collector, 10% is sort of the standard that I remember from early last year when I was getting in the space. That's what I do, is 10%. A lot of musicians go higher, but now I see bigger collections going lower. Now the trend is, of course, in this moment in time, a lot of free to mint collections with a 5 to a 7.5% fee. And I see people writing, long tweet threads about how we can't accept that people are starting to go up to 7.5% from the 5%. I'm personally comfortable up to about 10%. That's just my thought, both as a creator and a collector.
And I think it's an important differentiation. So Novo, can you speak to specifically the CryptoPunk holders? The almost 10,000 people that have CryptoPunks. Obviously, some have many of them. But what would you say to them? Because you represent that community in a way that's diverse and different than anybody else. And I think most, if not all of the folks are really glad at the way you represent the community. So if you had all the Times Square billboards, what would you say to all the friends that are in the CryptoPunks community?
There'd be a starting line, and it's the starting line that I start with most of my broadcasts with, is welcome all my aliens, apes, and zombies, because they were so welcoming to me when I entered Discord for the first time, asking what a MetaMask wallet is, asking what the heck is a CryptoPunk. And some of the industry leaders, even to this day, were able to reach out to me and invite me in and teach me the tricks of the trade, show me the pros and the cons of it, and always led and finished with, none of this is financial advice. So you had to do your research and you had to learn what was in that community. And even to this day, we all probably agree that 98 to 99% of things aren't going to work out as planned. A lot of projects fold up. So on the other aspect where I close all my shows with is stay positive and love life. We've thought of tons of ideas, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. And those ideas are just ideas. We try to work through them, see if they work. And there are sometimes many failed business ideas or plans. We didn't invest anything besides maybe time into it and some brain power, but we just move on to the next one. And if you're not having fun, then find people you're having fun with. And I enjoy the people I'm hanging out with. I don't view this right now as work. I just view this as hanging out with my friends. So welcome all my aliens, apes, and zombies, and stay positive and love life.
It's awesome. JR, what would you say to the Artifact community? I know you're part of many, if not all the major ones, but you still represent the Artifact community with your Clone X. And so do you have a message that you'd give to your friends there in that community?
Sure. It's continue to participate and, more importantly, educate. Now that Nike has acquired Artifact, that's a major brand, and it's important to make sure that, we authentically keep them within the Web3 space and not divert to, into the past. But I don't think that's the case. And it's important to also, bring your friends along for the ride and let them understand how important it is by showing that journey. Like if I really had the Times Square takeover that you're mentioning, I would start it with some of the very early NFTs that we were able to get. One right behind Nova right now, like that shoe of an earlier PFP that Beskar was actually using. And because we were participating so early, you could draw a timeline all across the Times Square billboards in a full circle of the journey that we took from that shoe to a meta pigeon, to a vial, to a CloneX, to a space pod, to a loot pod, to a monolith, to crypto kicks, to vials, and beyond, right? But people always say, well, how, and obviously these were all airdrops, right? These were not things that you just had to participate early on. So it's important for the CloneX community to say, educate and tell people to participate, show them how to participate because they are interested. It just might be difficult for them to figure it out, but help them along the way. And we have many great people in the CloneX community building, creating like you've never seen before. And it's very exciting, but let's make sure we bring all of our Web2 friends along for that journey.
It's great. VaskRx, final word, my friend. What would you leave us with? Feel free to speak to the Yuga community, or maybe just developers and technologists, as that is your wheelhouse. But whatever you'd like to say, I'd love for you to wrap us up, please.
Yeah, I mean, for Basie, Macy, and everyone in the Yuga family, look, we're on top, and it's hard. It's hard to stay on top, right? It's just like trying to win a Super Bowl back to back, and we're trying to win Super Bowls month to month right now. So I would say take a breath, zoom out, right? Zoom out from where we are, zoom out from everything that's happened. There's going to be ups, downs along the way. But if if you believe in this community and everything that's possible with Yuga, then you got no reason than to just diamond hand, because it's just going to keep paying off for you, both from a community standpoint, investment standpoint, and experiential standpoint. And I would say hold your breath for other side. Jesus, that looks insane. But from a technology standpoint, into anyone building in this community, it's not too late to start. It's not too late to innovate. It's not too late to do anything. We were early a year ago. We were incredibly early a year ago. We're still incredibly early sitting here on this Zoom today in 2022. So even if you haven't written a single line of code, even if you haven't created an NFT yet, even if you've never been in a metaverse world yet, don't think you're late to the party or can't contribute or are going to miss out, because we got a long road ahead of us as this technology evolves and grows. And I could tell you one thing: everyone's talking about the metaverse, but the metaverse absolutely needs Web3. The metaverse they need everything we're doing and everything that the blockchain enables to actually grow into what everyone's prognosticating it to be. So hang in there, stay close, say hi to people you don't know at NFT.NYC and get to know them. So thank you.
Well, friends, thanks for jumping in. I think it's such an important part of all things we call Web3 and the metaverse and the blockchain world, the NFT world, the expression that the four of you are doing when it comes to digital identity. Some of you have your normal identity online, and this is an addition to it. Some of you remain anonymous for good reason. And so it's just nice to bring the four of you in and let the NFT.NYC community learn more about you, your reason for doing things, your perspective on things. So thank you for sharing your wisdom. And I look forward to seeing you on stage at NFT.NYC in just a couple of weeks. Have a great weekend, my friends.
Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.